Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and this is the Bambu Lab X2D. And not too long ago from when I'm recording this video, I did a review on the Bambu Lab X2D, and that review lasted for more than 40 minutes. I had a lot to say about it. So if you want to see that full review, if you ain't got nothing else to do on your lunch break, go ahead and you can go in the description and you can get the link to that review, or you can click the card on the screen or on your television or however they do it now, and you can look at it from there as well. But after I finished that video, I was thinking about it and looking at some stuff, and I was like, you know what? There are still some details that I failed to mention in that review that I think will be helpful for you. So I'm following up pretty quickly. I just want to tell you what those things are. And I'm not going to forget them this time because I've got notes. All right, so let's get started. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. So one thing that I didn't mention was the maximum temperatures for the bed and for the hot ends. It's nothing that is out of the ordinary. So we're talking 300 degrees Celsius for both of the hot ends. That's for the left extruder and for the right extruder. And the maximum bed temperature is 120 degrees Celsius. And you also should know that you have hardened steel nozzles, both the ones that's associated with the main extruder on the left and the auxiliary extruder on the right. Both of those nozzles are hardened steel, and all of the extruder gears are hardened steel as well. Next, sensors and calibrations. Now, these days we expect those, and you are still going to get plenty of them on the Bambu Lab X2D. So you know you're going to be getting your auto leveling. You know that you're going to be getting filament detection, filament run out detection. You have those, but there's a list of different things that this printer can detect. And just going into the print options on the printer, you'll see that there's spaghetti detection, purge chute pile up detection, nozzle clumping detection, build plate detection. You get auto recovery from sleep loss. You can choose to store your scent files to external storage. There's a motion accuracy enhancement. If you choose to use the vision encoder plate, you can choose to purify the air at the end of your print. There's also a snapshot that you can have sent to your phone if you have the Bambu Handy app installed, so it can show you what your print looks like after it's done. For the AMS, you can choose to have it read the filament on insertion. You can have it read the filament on startup. There's the AMS auto refill that will go over to an identical filament if the previous one has run out. And you can also arrange the AMS order if you want to do that. And then safety options here includes open door detection. Okay, so you have a lot of different options here that you can use to enhance your print experience or just to make things more convenient for you. This printer also has a couple of cameras on the inside. There's the regular chamber camera that you can use to monitor the print either with the Bambu Handy app on your phone or through Bambu Studio on your computer. And then also you can have it automatically record time lapses if you want. And then there's also a camera in the tool head, and then that is there for detection purposes. So as far as I can see, you can't tap in to the tool head camera and just kind of get that cool view of what it's doing from that top down perspective, but the tool head camera is there, and there's a light on it as well. Now, air filters. Now, this is important if you want to print with some materials like ABS or ASA that give off those fumes that can be, you know, kind of strong and somewhat noxious. But there's a 3-stage filtration system in this printer. You get a G3 pre-filter followed by an H12 HEPA filter followed by a coconut shell activated carbon filter. All right, so you get all 3 of those, and I have printed with ASA in this printer just to see like what the smell would be like, and you can still smell it. So if you have some type of ritual that you do as far as keeping fumes away from the space that you breathe in, you can still keep those in place even though they have this 3-stage filtration system, because when you do print with like ABS or ASA and stuff like that, you're still going to smell it. But those are the air filtration options that this printer includes. Next up, the build plates that you might already have from previous Bambu Lab printers, they're still going to fit on here because the build area is still the same size, pretty much at 256 millimeters. The only difference is if you are going to use both of the nozzles and you want to take advantage of the whole bed, you're not going to be able to do that because the right nozzle cannot reach the edge of the left corner of the build plate. So if you're trying to use the right extruder, it's only going to get up to 235.5 millimeters. But if you've got like one of those BQ high temp plates or frostbite plates or something like that, you can still use it in this printer. And if you have the old Vision encoder plate, that will work in this printer as well. So you don't have to worry about replacing any of those. Now, I mentioned nozzles earlier, and here's the thing. By default, they both come with 0.4 millimeter nozzles. There's these quick swap nozzles. You don't need any tools to change them. But when you use the auxiliary nozzle that's connected to the Bowden extruder on the right side, it is recommended that you don't use a 0.2 millimeter nozzle. They don't want you to do that. And there's also some restrictions of filaments that you should use that you should be aware of. So what's officially recommended when you use the auxiliary extruder is regular PLA, not silk PLA and not aero PLA, and also Bambu support for PLA/PET, support for ABS, and support for PVA. That's what's recommended if you're going to be using the auxiliary extruder here. What they don't recommend that you print with as far as the main material to print for your models from the right extruder includes PETG, ABS, ASA, polycarbonate, and PPA carbon fiber. And there is no official support for PPS carbon fiber, TPU 85A, TPU 90A, or TPU 95A through the right extruder, the external spool that you see right here. So those are going to be your filament limitations for that there. And we're going up towards the end. As far as your fans go, there's a multitude of different cooling methods that they have in this printer. So you have a part cooling fan, you have an auxiliary part cooling fan, there's a hot end cooling fan, a main control board fan, chamber heat circulation fan, and an exhaust fan, the external exhaust fan on the back. You see that that's a part of the installation process of the printer when you set it up. And then for your network connectivity, you do have dual band Wi-Fi support, but there is no Ethernet cable. There is no network kill switch that is installed on this printer. And that is the list. That is my X2D follow-up of things that I forgot to mention in that review. And right before I leave, one thing that I do want to slightly correct in the previous review when I was talking about how I was printing this marble type of a game and how when I went to print the base for it, I could not print the yellow base on the X2D because it kept coming loose from the build plate with the original plate that came with it, also with the BQ frostbite plate that were completely clean. They kept failing in the same spot. I printed the same part on the Snapmaker U1 and it got it done on the first try. And the image, the video that I showed on the screen did not show the actual finished part. It was showing another part that I actually did do on the X2D that was red. But this is the actual yellow base that was printed on the Snapmaker U1 and not the X2D. But these black pieces here for the gearing system, these were printed on the X2D. And the way that this whole thing works, you turn this gear, you can see this part here is just moving along these two gears that are installed on it as well. And then it just gets the little ball bearing inside each of these slots and it takes it down this slide and then, you know, it just keeps on going. It moves kind of slow, but it is functional and it does work. And like I said, those black pieces were printed on the X2D, just not this big yellow base. Okay, so that's it. Those are the things I left out. Pretty sure there's other things that I could mention as well that I'll think about later, but those are the most important things. So if you got any questions about this printer, just go ahead, just leave a comment in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them for you. So that's it. So next time, take care of yourselves and I'll speak to you soon.